غرباء غرباء غرباء
نستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه تسليما كثيرا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله وخير الهدى هدى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. What you have heard is what's known as Khutbatul Haja. Khutbatul Haja. Inna alhamdulillahi nahmaduhu. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to say Khutbatul Haja before every khutbah for Friday. He used to say it before the Eid khutbah. He used to say it before people got married, when he married the people. If he wanted to talk to the people and he wanted to address the people, he would say Khutbatul Haja. Jabir ibn Abdullah, may Allah be pleased with him, said, Rasulullah used to teach us Khutbatul Haja with the same emphasis that he would teach us ayats or surahs from the Quran. So the youngster who's trying to be a serious student of knowledge and he's trying to be upon the sunnah of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he's trying to commit Khutbatul Haja to memory. It's not difficult. Not difficult. The second thing, inshallah azwajan, we want to mention today is that as we mentioned the last time, we're going to begin our class with Kitab At-Thahabi. The last time that we were here, we gave some of the virtues of At-Thahabi, and there were quite a few. And brothers were writing down these virtues. We gave them the adillah, trying to get you to understand them, and so forth and so on. Today, inshallah, we're going to begin the book itself, bi'idhnillah. But we're going to take it easy. We're going to take it slow. We're going to take it easy. We're going to take it slow. So we're going to be dealing with the book called Kitab At-Thahabi by the famous Islamic personality. His name was Muhammad ibn Al-Wahhab, rahimahullah ta'ala. May Allah have mercy upon him. He's an individual in Al-Islam who a lot of things have been said about him, good and bad. Good and bad. He has people who love him, and he has people who hate him. How many of you heard of Muhammad ibn Al-Wahhab? How many of you heard of that name before? Muhammad ibn Al-Wahhab. Have you heard people say, you're a Wahhabi, you're a Wahhabi? That's because of the da'wah of this man at a time that was really critical. He died about 240 years ago. So he's one of the contemporary scholars, so to speak. Not living with us now, but when he died, it hasn't been that long, ago. This is really important really important. There's a hadith that the Prophet says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, this is important. إن الله بعث على رأس كل 100 عام من يجدد لهذه الأمة دينها. Every 100 years, Allah will send someone to renew, and Mujaddid, Tajdid. So some brothers in the audience, you don't know Arabic, and Mujaddid. Allah sends every 100 years someone who would revive for this ummah is deen. So when the Muslims become weak, they start going astray, you see in them a way of practicing and understanding. It's not the way the companions were, like we have right now. And it's been like this for a while. Still Allah will send to this ummah every 100 years a person who's going to bring the religion back to the correct understanding. As I sit in the audience, any one of you can be that person. You shouldn't say, I want to be the Mujaddid. I'm not saying that. But any one of you can be that person. It's not some special person that when you hear this hadith, you say, that's talking about somebody else. It may be talking about somebody else. It may be talking about anybody here. That you are Mujaddid, from the word Jadid. Is that word in Somali language? Jadid? Huh?
It means new.
Yeah, it means new. You say, هذا كتاب جديد. وهذا طالب جديد. New student, new book. And Mujaddid is a person who comes and he renews the religion. Not that he gives the new stuff to the religion, but he brings the Muslims back to what they were doing. I believe, and Allah knows best, that Sheikh Muhammad ibn Al-Wahhab was one of those people, because when he was, when he came out with his dawah in Arabia, the people were worshiping trees and rocks in Saudi Arabia right now. Saudi Arabia 240, 50 years ago, they were worshiping trees, they were worshiping rocks, they were worshiping crazy stuff. And that was the reality of the situation back then. So for someone to think that Saudi Arabian people are special, you're talking about they're special. They're not special. They're no more special than Somali people. They're no more special than Pakistanis, Sudanese, white people. So I don't want you guys to be thinking, because we have some brothers who are trying to push the Sunnah, but their understanding of the Sunnah in respect to this book that we're learning, and in respect to Muhammad Abdul Wahhab, rahmatullahi alayhi, and respect to the Saudi Arabian government, they've helped the dawah of the Tawheed. Some of the people believe Saudi Arabia is special. As my students, I don't believe that. Saudi Arabian people are not special. When you see a Saudi Arabian person, oh, he's Saudi, no. And also, you shouldn't see a Saudi Arabian person and you look at him and say, he's bad, because that's what some Pakistani people have. Pakistani people are on the Hanafi madhab. They're on the Brewi, the Ubandi, so they hate Saudi Arabia. But although they say they hate Saudi Arabia, when you start talking to them about what they're doing, and you want to get Dalil, for an example, Prophet Muhammad in the Qiyam al-Layl, he used to pray how many rakat for Qiyam al-Layl? Anybody know? How many? 11. He used to pray 11. Aisha said he would pray 11 in Ramadan and outside of Ramadan. But in Sudan, in Somalia, in Saudi Arabia, how many rakats do they pray for Taraweeh? How many? 20.
12.
20. They pray 20. But there's no wrong or right answer in this. No big deal. In Saudi Arabia, Mecca, and Medina, they pray 20. They don't pray 11. So we find that, and the point is, I'm not with the people who believe Saudi Arabia is special. I'm not with those people. And I don't want you to believe that Saudi Arabians are better than everybody else. Scholars from Saudi Arabia are better than everybody else. people from Saudi Arabia. But no, I don't believe that. I'm not teaching you that. There are scholars from Sudan, India, Afghanistan, other parts of Africa, from Libya, from Egypt, scholars all over the world. The only scholars are not Saudi Arabia. So I don't believe that Saudi Arabia is special. Nor do I believe we should be against Saudi Arabia, like some of the Ahnaf from the Brahwis and the Deobandis. So what happened is, if Saudi Arabia says, tomorrow we're going to begin to fast because we saw the moon, Brahwis, Deobandis from the UK, they say, nah, we don't trust those Saudi Arabians. And they won't accept it. But if you find in their masjid that they're praying Ramadan, Tarawih, 20 rakats, you say, where's the dalil for that? They'll say, Saudi Arabia does it. Well, Saudi Arabia is not a dalil for us. I need you guys to understand that point. That some Hanafi people, Brahwis, Deobandis, they hate Saudi Arabia to the degree they won't even accept if Saudi Arabia said, we saw the moon for Ramadan last night, we're going to fast tomorrow. They say we don't accept that because Saudi Arabia Arabs, they were Wahhabis. But then in their masjid they want to do 20 rakats. So you ask them, Prophet Muhammad never did more than 11. That's what Aisha said. So why are you doing 20? They say, they do that in Saudi Arabia, but you don't like Saudi Arabia in other things, but you just want to use them in this thing, and you're not being consistent. You guys get that point? So I want to make it perfectly clear. I don't believe Arabs, Saudi Arabia, I don't believe any Arabs are better than other than them. Everything, the haq, Saudi Arabia, I don't believe that. But I'm also not against Saudi Arabia. So don't be of those people who be cherry picking. So I believe that the Sheikh Muhammad Al-Wahhab is a Mujaddid. What's a Mujaddid? I just said it a few minutes ago. What's a Mujaddid? A reviver. Someone who renews something that's new. Tajdeed. A tajdeed. He came and he renewed. Meaning, things have fallen to the side, Muslims are weak, and then Allah sends someone. How many of you have heard of the Sheikh, the Imam Muhammad Nasiruddin Al-Albani? Who heard of Al-Albani? Al-Albani came during our time, 86 when I became a Muslim, went to Medina. Al-Albani was alive. He started checking hadith. He's a Mujaddid, inshallah. Someone who came and put a revival to an aspect of Islam. So the Mujaddid doesn't mean that the person is in Jannah, he's ma'soom. Nah, it doesn't mean that. It means a person who's doing a lot for Islam. And he can do a lot for Islam in jihad, like Salahuddin Al-Ayyubi. How many of you heard of him? Salahuddin Al-Ayyubi is a good personality for jihad, but his aqidah was a problem. And I want you to know that. His aqidah was a problem. But if the non-Muslims are fighting the Muslims and they're about to kill us and take our country, and here's a person who doesn't have good aqidah, but he starts fighting them and he's beating them up and he's winning, are we going to say, we don't care if he's winning, his aqidah is no good, we don't like him, we want the kuffar to kill the Muslims and overcome Islam? Are we going to say that? No. Who does that? So his aqidah wasn't perfect, but he did a good job for the Muslims in terms of jihad, which goes to show the Mujaddid is not a Nabi, he's not a messenger, not a Rasul. And it also goes to show that the Mujaddid is not perfect. He can be a Mujaddid in jihad. He can be a Mujaddid in knowledge. He can be a Mujaddid in something else. So I believe that Muhammad Abdul Wahhab is a Mujaddid and Allah knows best. Concerning this book that he wrote, it's called Kitab At-Thahabi. Now listen, this is really important. If I were to ask you, Tawheed is of three categories. There are three types of Tawheed. Anybody know those categories? Abdurrahman.
ربوبية من الأسماء والصفات الألوهية.
There are 3 types of Tawheed. Did you know that? Alright, listen. It's real easy. I need you guys to get this right now. It's not difficult. Especially with you guys being people who know Arabic. Tawheed. What does Tawheed mean?
Oneness of Allah.
To make something one. The word wahada, yuwahidu, that's the past tense and the present. Wahada, he made something one. Yuwahidu, he's making something one right now. Tawhida is the masdar, the verb, the noun. So we say make something one. Linguistically, for an example, I say to you, wahidu saf, unite the row. Some people up, some people back. I say make the row one. I say wahidu al-karima. Make your words one. Unite on one word. For an example, I say to you for an example, inshallah, wahidu al-hay. The people in this neighborhood, let's get them all united. Put them on the same page. That's the meaning of Tawheed. But the Tawheed that we're going to deal with is the Tawheed of Allah. The oneness of Allah. What is the Tawheed of Allah? The Tawheed of Allah is, I would give this simple translation. Tawheed of Allah is making the oneness of Allah in what He deserves. Tawheedullah fi ma yastahaq. Making Allah one and unique in what He deserves. That's a simple definition. Another way of saying this Tawheed of Allah is the Tawheed of Allah fi ma yajibu alayhi. Making the oneness of Allah in that which is His rights. So Allah has a lot of rights, and we should make Him one and unique in many things. But this book is about the Tawheed of Allah in His worship. Giving Allah, that's Tawheed. Tawheed is that fixed? It's, the camera is, it is. The Tawheed of Allah. Making Allah one in what He deserves. And He deserves many things. So there are 3 types of Tawheed, as the brother Abdurrahman said. Tawheed of Allah in His Rububiyyah. The Tawheed of Allah in His Al-Uluhiyyah. The Tawheed of Allah in His names and His attributes. Now listen, this is really important. This book right here, Tawheed, Kitab al-Tawheed, it talks about all of those Tawheeds of Allah, all of them. But the main goal and objective of this book is Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah. This book has things about Tawheed al-Rububiyyah, the oneness of Allah and His lordship, and we're going to come explain that. This book has Tawheed of Allah and His name attributes. But the main concern of this book, Julluhu Tawheed al-Uluhiyyah, which is the most important aspect of a Tawheed. So, let me just say this. Now listen, I really want you guys to bring your notebook if you can. If you don't want to, you don't have to, but I don't want to just be talking. I really want you guys to comprehend what I'm saying. We're going to go very slow, and I just want you to understand, because this is important. It's not a joke. And if someone came and started asking you questions about Tawheed, you'll find the community doesn't know. The Muslim doesn't know. It doesn't mean he's a mushrik. Doesn't mean he's a mubtadi. But he doesn't know. He's just existing. He doesn't know what he's doing. But the issue of a Tawheed is important. And that's why we chose this topic. Last week we talked about some of the virtues of a Tawheed. You remember any? We gave you some dalil of the fadl of a Tawheed. You remember anyone? You remember? Were you here?
No.
Were you here?
Yeah, masjid. No, last week.
Yeah, in the masjid, in Leeds, in the masjid in Leeds.
No, last week we didn't do it because you guys went to...
The one before that.
No, It was raining that time. It was raining, so you had to do 2 lessons at the same time.
Were you here?
When we did the 2 lessons, yeah. For the fadl.
What is a virtue of a tawheed? One.
Oneness of Allah. You're gonna get protected by Allah.
Hmm?
You're gonna get protected by Allah.
That if you have tawheed, you are protected. If you have tawheed, it is a way of protection.
And you go to Jannah if you have tawheed.
If you have tawheed, you go to Jannah. Anyone who comes Yawm al-Qiyamah and he doesn't have tawheed, he's not getting into Jannah, no matter who he is. He could be connected to a prophet or a messenger. He could be Prophet Muhammad's mother, father, brother, sister. If he comes and he doesn't have tawheed, he's going to the hellfire. You have any? What's the next one?
And the last one, you'll be guided in this world.
Huh?
You'll be guided.
Those people who have tawheed will be guided. From the benefits of tawheed is Allah created us for this tawheed. Allah sent the prophets and the messengers for this tawheed. Allah created the heavens and He created the heavens and the earth because of this tawheed. He created the Jannah and the Nar because of this tawheed. He sent the prophets and the messengers because of this tawheed. The first thing you're going to be asked about when you are raising your grave is the issue about a tawheed. When you go into Jannah, the thing that get people into the Jannah is the tawheed of Allah. We mentioned all of those things. All of those things. So now when we talk about Kitab al-Tawheed, we have to have an understanding. What is a tawheed? What is it? Tawheed is singling Allah out and giving him the rights that he deserves. And there are many. So there are 3 types of tawheed. The first type is the tawheed al-Rububiyyah, the tawheed of the lordship of Allah. Second type is tawheed al-Uluhiyyah, from the word ilah, al-ilah, ahi. What is al-ilah in Arabic? Al-ilah. The word Abdul Ilah, al-ilah. The word ilah.
God.
It's the God, the one who's worshipped. It's a better translation. Al-ilah huwa al-ma'bud. It's the one who is worshipped. So we have the tawheed al-rububiyyah, the oneness of Allah in His lordship. The tawheed al-uluhiyyah, the oneness of Allah in worshiping Him and the fact that He's the God. And the last one is the tawheed of the names and the attributes. Today we're going to deal with the tawheed al-rububiyyah. Al-rububiyyah. Listen, every place in the Quran where you find Allah talking about He is the Rabb, it's a dalil for tawheed al-rububiyyah. Everywhere in the Quran you find that Allah has mentioned that He is the Khaliq. What's the Khaliq? Huh?
Creator.
The Creator. Every ayah is a proof of Allah's oneness and that He created everything by Himself. And the third category, al-asma wa sifat. Al-asma wa sifat. How do you translate al-asma wa sifat?
The 99 names of Allah.
The names and the attributes. We'll come to this issue about does Allah have 99 names, more or less. We'll come to that inshallah. So the 3 categories of tawheed I just told you, what are they? Al-rububiyyah, al-uluhiyyah. What is uluhiyyah? Come from what word? Al-ilah. And tawheed al-asma wa sifat. Give them to me again. Tawheed the what? Good job. Tawheed al-rububiyyah comes from what? Al-Rabb. Tawheed, the oneness of Allah in His lordship as a Rabb. What's the meaning of that? Allah is the Lord, Allah is the Creator, and Allah is the Mudabbir. What's a Mudabbir? يدبر الأمر من السماء إلى الأرض في 6 أيام ثم استوى على العرش. يدبر الأمر من السماء إلى الأرض. He commands. Tadbir means Allah commands. The fish gonna do this, human beings gonna do that, the rain gonna do this, kuffar gonna do that. That's the tadbir. 3 categories of tawheed. What are they? Al-Asma, the tawheed. 3 aqsam. What are they? The tawheed al-rububiyyah. Listen, it means that a person is recognizing that Allah is the Rabb, that Allah is the Khaliq, that Allah is the Mudabbir. So what's the proof? Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alameen. It says Allah is the Rabbil Alameen. Qul a'udhu bi Rabbin Nas. I seek refuge in the Rabb. Allah is the Rabb. So it's a person who understands Allah is my Lord, Rabbul Alameen. Allah is the Rabbul Nas. And all of those other ayat that describe Allah like that. Also from the Rabb is that Allah is the creator. Hey, who created the heavens and the earth? Allah. Okay. So the kuffar of Quraysh, they used to believe this. Allah said in the Quran, وَإِن سَأَلْتَهُمْ مَنْ خَلَقَ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ لَيَقُولُنَّ اللَّهِ. If you ask them who created the heavens and the earth, they're going to say Allah. So the kuffar, they believe in the rububiyyah of Allah. My mother, my father were not Muslims, although they say Isa is a white man with blonde hair, blue eyes, white man doing his hair like this. You guys believe that Isa is a white man? No. Is Allah a white man? No. So the non-Muslims, they believe that Allah is the Rabb. What's the dalil that they believe Allah is a Rabb? What's the dalil? What's the proof?
For what?
Huh?
Allah's Rabb.
Huh?
For what?
What?
For what?
They throw up.
For what?
Huh?
What was your question, Shah?
The question. What is the proof that the non-Muslims of Quraysh and the non-Muslims today, they believe that Allah is the Rabb? What's the dalil for that? Wallahi, they believe it. They believe it. Wallahi. What's the dalil for that?
They believe in a God?
Yeah, they believe in a God. But what's an ayat? That's true. They believe in God. Allah put in them the fitrah, and every human being believes that there's a creator. Even if they say they're atheists and they believe there's a creator. What's the dalil? If you ask them who created the heavens and the earth, Kuffar Quraysh said, Allah.